Hello, Riggs High students. This is Mrs. Kringle, your librarian, and today I'm going to talk to you about some databases that you can use for research. In the previous videos that I recorded and that you watched for class, I talked about the ProQuest database as well as the SIRS Issues Researcher database. Both ProQuest and SIRS Issues Researcher are known as generalized databases. And what a generalized database is it's a database where you can search for information on a variety of topics. They cover all sorts of topics in newspapers, magazine, and journal articles. So pretty much any topic under the sun, you can find something in both ProQuest and in SIRS because they're generalized. They cover everything. There are things that we call specialized databases, which focus only on one area of research, for example, health or education, and we'll look at those in another video. But today I wanted to show you a couple of other databases, generalized databases that you can use to start your research and to get some ideas of where to go to get some more information. So to get to the databases that we have talked about before, like ProQuest and SIRS, and the databases we're going to talk about today, we need to go to the Pierre School District homepage, which is pierre.k12.sd.us. Once we're on that page, we're going to go over to where it says the word schools. We're going to put our mouse over the word schools. We're going to go down to TF Riggs High School, and you'll see another pop-up menu. And we're going to go over here to TF Riggs Library. I already have that tab open, so I'm just going to go right there. Once we're on the library page for TF Riggs High School, we're going to go here to Riggs Research Resources to find the databases. The databases, as we've talked about before, under the heading South Dakota State Library Databases over here on the right-hand side. That's because these databases are provided to you by the South Dakota State Library. They pay about $1 million a year for the citizens of South Dakota to be able to use these databases. So your device needs to be within the boundaries of the state of South Dakota so it can recognize you as a South Dakota citizen. If you plan to travel outside of South Dakota, let's say you're going to go visit family in Nebraska, you can still use these databases. You just need a barcode and password. And if you're going to do that kind of travel and want to use the databases, come see me and I will be happy to give you the Riggs High barcode and password. This list over here is alphabetical in nature, so if we scroll down to the P's, we'll find ProQuest, which we looked at earlier. Again, ProQuest is a wonderful database that provides access to articles from 1,700 plus magazines, newspapers, and academic journals on all sorts of topics. And SIRS Issues Researcher was the other database that we looked here at under the S's there. And SIRS Issues Researcher is also a general interest database. Its focus is on current events, and it's arranged by current event pro-con topics formats. But you can find information on all sorts of topics in there, from articles from magazines, newspapers, and academic journals as well. So the other generalized databases that I wanted to look at that you can use to find information on all sorts of topics are a set of databases produced by a company called EBSCO. EBSCOhost has a plethora of databases. Several of them are listed on here today. But one I want to start with is called Academic Search Premier. Because they're all created by the same company, once you learn how to use one of the databases, you can transfer those skills to the other databases. Academic Search Premier has information in it on a wide variety of topics, just like we've looked at before in ProQuest and SIRS, so you can find anything in here. The focus on Academic Search Premier is on academic content in terms of it contains a lot of academic journals, but it also does have some newspapers and magazine articles as well. But the focus really is on academic journals. So let's say that you want to do a health topic as a search. I'm going to do a search on lupus. Lupus is an autoimmune disorder, and it is a disease that I have, so I find it to be a very interesting thing to research. So lupus, erythematosus systemic lupus. SLE is another name for it, or just plain lupus. And I like that when you start typing in your keyword, just like when we saw in ProQuest and just like when we saw in SIRS, the database is trying to be helpful, in this case, Academic Search Premier, and it is bringing up other suggestions for you of keywords that you can use to build your keyword list. I'm just going to go with lupus. I'm just going to do that search right there. And I get 52,610 articles. That's a lot of information. So obviously I'm going to need to narrow that, okay? We talked last time when we looked at ProQuest about ways to narrow your search results. The easiest way to narrow your search results is to add another keyword. I'm going to add information in here about hydroxychloroquine, and I spelled it wrong because I wanted to show you how to look up a word. Hydroxychloroquine. So this is how it is spelled. It's a kind of a long word. So you can just copy that and paste it in here because I had misspelled it. So you could see how to do that. So now it's spelled correctly. So when I right-clicked on it, the word that was misspelled, it allowed me to go out to Google and search for the spelling of the word. So that's one way to do that. Hydroxychloroquine is a medicine that's used to treat lupus. It's a medicine that received a lot of attention this summer because there was thoughts that perhaps it would be helpful in treating COVID-19. So here is some information about hydroxychloroquine and how it's used to treat systemic lupus. Now, I've gotten 959 results. So adding that keyword, that new keyword, hydroxychloroquine, narrowed my results quite significantly. So another way to narrow it, and we've talked about this before, is to limit to full text. So then it's only going to retrieve those articles that are full text, meaning I can read them right then. That narrows it down significantly to 248. Okay, so I can look through here. You can see a lot of these are coming from some pretty significant medical journals. Apparently there is a journal called Lupus, which I did not know about, so that's really interesting to me. This is from a journal called Infectious Diseases. There's a lot of good information in here. Indian Journal of Ophthalmology. So you can see that when you use Academic Search Premier, you're really getting quite a bit of scholarly peer-reviewed journals, kind of a lot of academic medical journals. So this is a great place to take a look for some medical resources. Another way to limit your search is to use your publication date. Right now it's searching from 1996 to 2020. Maybe I don't want that long of a time frame. Maybe I want it from 2010 to 2020. So if I put in a new date, to get it to search the date, I have to click off of it and it will redo my search, and now I'm down to 177. So certainly things I can look through. I can narrow my search again by adding another keyword if I want to here, putting in another word and seeing what happens there. Let's go in and look at one of these articles. Because we've limited to full text, all of these are ones that we can read right now. Okay. Right now here, just like in ProQuest, although in ProQuest you found it on the right-hand side of the article, these are their subject terms or how they are cataloging this article. So again, you can use these. These are all links. If you wanted to click on these to go to these different links, you could go to those different links and it'll redo your search for you. Or you can use it to build your keyword list. And we talked about the importance of developing a good keyword list before you start searching. So right here is the abstract of this article, but it's not the full text. If I look over here, I see HTML full text and PDF full text. I'm going to click on the PDF full text. If I had this magazine in front of me, this is exactly what I would see if I was to open up as a case report. So this is actually like looking at the article. I want to call your attention when you look at PDF full text in EBSCOhost, in this case, Academic Search Premier, their database. It's important to note if you want to print this article, you need to use the print function here within the PDF. Don't go over here because if you go over here to this print function on the right-hand side, it's only going to print the abstract. To print the actual article in the PDF form, you need to be in this print function. Now, if we go to HTML full text, it's the same article, but you're reading it in the HTML version, okay? And in this case, to print the article, we would go over here to the right-hand side and hit print. It asks, how do you want to print it? We want to print it with the citation format. Remember, we use MLA citation style, so we need to change to that. And we hit print. And there is your article with your citation. There's your works cited right there. And there is the article. So just know that if you have the option when you're looking at articles in Academic Search Premier or in an EBSCO database, that there, if you have both PDF and HTML format, there's different ways to print them. In HTML format, you come over here, the right-hand side, and use this print function. If you're looking at PDF full text, to print the article, you come over here. Okay. So that's important to note. That's a difference between them. Let's go back to the results list. So if you add, like I said, narrowed your results from 2010 to 2020, and we narrowed them to full text. If you want to, you can come down here and you can see, you can narrow it by source type. You can narrow it to just results from academic journals, or just results from trade publications, or just results from magazines, although you'll only notice you got one of those, two of those, and 174. That's because we're searching Academic Search Premier, and what is in this database is academic journals primarily. Okay. This is a great database, though, for generalized searching. Another one that is, I'm going to close my hydroxychloroquine there. Another database that is an EBSCOhost database that is also a great resource to use for generalized searching is something called Masterfile Premier. You'll see it right down here, Masterfile Premier. And when I go into Masterfile Premier, it wants me to select which database I want to search. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down here in this academic or this alphabetical list, and I'm going to look for Masterfile Premier. Masterfile Complete. Okay, it has over 2,000 general reference publications. I'm going to select that just so you can see the difference between them, and then I'm going to hit Continue. So I'm searching Masterfile Complete right here. I'm going to type in lupus and hydroxy. Okay, I spelled it wrong. Okay, I'm going to go here, search Google again for the spelling. And I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to paste it. Okay. And you can see I get 15. So I'm getting less, but I'm getting less academic journals. Okay. I'm getting 9 of them in this case, 3 magazines and 1 newspaper. I'm going to go to full text. Now I'm down to 5. Okay. And I'm getting some USA Today magazine, Journal of Family Practice, Ophthalmology Times, Dermatology Times. So I'm seeing some less information. Okay. FDA now in on the fake news. Okay. Antimalarials, hydroxychloroquine is known as an antimalarial medication, but it's effective in the treatment of lupus. So that's why that's there. So maybe I'm interested in that. COVID-19 pandemic. Maybe I want to change it from lupus to COVID-19. Try that. Now I've got 35 results with full text. There's probably not as many results on this topic because this is such a new topic, but still 35 is pretty awesome. Okay. So just to make sure that you know, I didn't know I was going to search COVID-19 and hydroxychloroquine until I started to do that research on that article on lupus. And I saw that as a keyword and I thought, maybe I'm interested in COVID-19 and the use of hydroxychloroquine. So right in here is an example of using my research to inform my research topic. So that is a generalized database. This is Masterfile Premier. As you can see, it's another EBSCOhost database. Similar functions, features. If I go into my article here, and I have my HTML and PDF formats. If I want to print something, email it, save it, or cite it, it's all over here on the right-hand side. Just a reminder that if you find something you think you might use, go ahead and print it or email it to yourself because it's hard to get back to. So Masterfile Premier and Academic Search Premier are awesome generalized databases that make great resources. The other database that I want to show you is called Issues and Controversies. It's right here. This is a database, it's one of the few on here that is not provided by the South Dakota State Library. It is a TF-RIGS provided database, and you will need a login and password to use it. So please come see me in the RIGS library and I'll give you the barcode and password to access, or the login and password to access issues and controversies. You can see it looks a lot like SIRS, laid out in topic format. You can search it right up here and put in your search term, or you can look here through the different topics. They're highlighting the most current ones or they think that you might be interested in right over here. Okay. And then they have all sorts of other topics down here, and it's listed here by subject, or you can click here, all issues A to Z, and start searching an alphabetical list, which is what I like to do because it maybe will highlight something I hadn't thought about, like athletes' pay. If I click on that topic, here's a whole bunch of articles, pro-con articles on this related to athletes' pay. Like this one, should National Collegiate Athletic Association athletes be paid? So I really like how this one, just like SIRS, has guiding questions that can lead you to a thesis statement. But here's what an article in Issues and Controversies looks like. It offers you an introduction with both supporters argue an answer to this question and opponents argue an answer to that question. And then we get into the full article itself. These are links here that can take you to different sections in the article. But if I scroll down, here's my introduction. It's got great maps and images that you can use. I know that Mr. Steluka does allow you to use some of these things in your paper, so please ask him about that. But there's some great charts and graphs here that might inform your research. Okay, and then when we get down here, we get into supporters argue, and there's more detail here on their argument, and opponents argue here. And then the bibliography that they use to create this article, you can go and do your original searching yourself if you want to. And then at the bottom here, here's your citation for your article. And it's already in MLA format, which is what we use. But again, you would need to check with your English teacher, make sure it is exactly the way they want it. Over here too, though, you'll see links to something that says like by the numbers. This just gives you some more charts and numbers that you can use in your arguments or in your paper. A chronology will give you a timeline about this topic, which is really interesting. Maybe you can find some names in there or some dates that you think are particularly relevant for your research. This is a great tool to use for researching, especially current events. If you're planning to do that or you're not really sure what you want to do, this might trigger some ideas. Oh, maybe I'd like to do this. Okay, so Issues and Controversies and SIRS are a great place to go to get information on current events, news type topics. I hope that was helpful for you. If you need more information, please come see me in the RIGS library. I want to show you over here on the page on the left-hand side. Here is a link to Research Databases PDF. This is a document that I created that divides the databases from the South Dakota State Library up into topics as to what they're relevant for. Okay, so we just looked at some of the pro-con databases, SIRS Issues Researcher, Issues and Controversies. There's one I didn't look at, but you can look at it if you want to, called Points of View. And then research databases, we've looked at Academic Search Premier, which is one of those generalized databases. We looked at Masterfile Premier, again, another generalized database, and we've looked at ProQuest. Okay, those are all generalized databases. Some of these other ones on here are more subject-specific ones, and we'll look at those in another video. Okay, so I wanted to share this information with you so that you would have it. So that database sheet is over here, so you can refer back to it. So we have our databases on this side. We have this database sheet over here. And here are the videos that I've created so far. And this video that I'm creating right now will go here when it gets done. But this is the ProQuest video and the SIRS video if you want to refer back to it. Thank you and have a nice day.